I'm putting my $400 DIY up against every official unique muffin plushie I could find. But can a handmade plushie come out victorious in the battle of the muffins? Today, we find out.
Ludo Studios has let everyone down. We have tons of Bluey and Bingo plushies in all different shapes and sizes. And we even just recently got Bluey and Bingo Build-A-Bears. But what we didn't get is everyone's favorite character. Don't lie to yourself, you know she's your favorite. Muffin! You wanna know how many unique Muffin plushies there are out there? 2! Okay, well, technically I found one more while I was making this video, but that aside, 2 Muffin plushies? They got this little one and this squishy one. That's it. This is an absolute felony. The tag came off. I threw it so hard that the tag came off. I was gonna regift this. I might still be able to. So I'm setting out to rectify this injustice. But first, we have to see what we're up against. In past Buy vs. DIYs, I scored all plushies together at the end of the video. But this time, we're scoring the Buy half first. That way we all know what I'm up against before we get started. So that this doesn't take too long, on screen are the rules to the Buy vs. DIY, all our scoring categories, and the So Micah ranking categories. So go ahead and pause to read, and take a screenshot so that you can play along too. If you have one of these plushies at home, you can score them yourself using this as your guide to see if the plushie is a better fit for you than it is for me. Now, let's get to scoring. For time, I'm gonna give both of these cuties an 8 out of 10, since they were both ordered using my mom's Amazon Prime account, and they both got here just within a couple of days. Next we have price. The dream price for a Little Muffin will be set at $5, while the actual price was $15. But that was technically for a Muffin Socks set, so we'll cut that in half and say it's $7.50. Hello? That'll give Little Muffin a score of 8 out of 10 again. Oh! Okay, that's what that noise was. Stay there, don't fall. Actually, no, wait, come here. When it comes to price for the squishy muffin, it was a very frustrating case. See, the dream price would have been set at like $8, and I paid like $16 for it, meaning it would get a 5 out of 10. But I went to the store a day or two after it arrived, and look who was sitting on the shelf for $10. That could have been an 8 out of 10. But since I was ripped off and had to pay $16 for it, I'm sticking with the 5 out of 10. Next is accuracy, and as you can see, one of these muffins is not like the others. Of course, it's not trying to be an accurate muffin, but unfortunately, that does not change the rules of the category. Meaning Squishy Muffin here is getting a 2 out of 10 for accuracy. And I'm gonna give Little Muffin a 5 out of 10. I can't quite verbalize exactly what's off, besides some of the shaping and coloring, but there's something else with the expression that feels really off. For hug feel, I'm giving the Squishy Muffin a 5 out of 10, since it's pretty small, but it's too big to be judged on like a hand feel, like the Little Muffin could. So 5 out of 10. The Little Muffin, on the other hand, is going to get a 4 out of 10. There's just not a great way to hold on to this one besides just like by the tail. I will say though, I could definitely see a little kid hanging on to Muffin by the tail and just running around with her all day. Lastly, we have sensory feel, which is a very important category, especially if you are autistic like myself. I'm giving the Squishy Muffin a 9 out of 10 for being like really nice feeling. It is Mochi Minky after all. And the Little Muffin is gonna get an 8 out of 10 since it's very similar to my regular Minky fabric that I work with, and that fabric always gets a base score of 8. I'm gonna leave their total scores for the end of the video, but feel free to comment how you scored these plushies if you have them at home too. I'd love to see what scores you gave these guys. But now it's time to make our competitor to see if we can beat these scores. Now, onto the design. So while you all were getting your Bluey and Bingo Build-A-Bears, I was working on the perfect muffin pattern, which turned out to be a lot more difficult than I thought it was gonna be. My original plan was to just modify my old Bluey pattern to look both more like Muffin proportionally and look more like it's straight out of the Bluey show. But after a few attempts at that, I realized something was missing. So I went back to the drawing board and made a new pattern from scratch, which
also had a few iterations. But in the end, something still didn't feel quite right. So I did a little more research into pre-existing Bluey 3D models to see what I might be missing. And you know what? I don't think my pattern is the problem. Take a look at some of these official 3D Bluey objects. Do any of them look right to you? The plushies, the toys, the balloon, the mascots? I mean, probably not. At the very least, none of them look right to me. And my whole job is to turn things 2D and otherwise into 3D objects. So what's going on here? Well, I think, and hear me out on this one, that Bluey was never meant to be 3D. Whoever designed the art style of the show never thought about how the designs would turn into 3D objects like a parade balloon when they were designing the show. And I'm not hating on them for that. I would also never assume something I made would get as big as Bluey. So designing the concept of a show with future merchandise in mind probably is not gonna happen unless you are like so confident or you really like toys. What I'm saying is that Bluey characters may never translate into a perfect 3D object because the design was made for 2D and 2D only. It looks weird in 3D, especially head-on, because you can't replicate that 2D paper doll experience with a 3D object like a fully functional plushie. So, I guess that's it. Video over. Bluey plushies are impossible. So if you like this video, go ahead and like and subscribe. I'm just kidding. I'm not giving up that easily. Sure, I may not be able to get it to look exactly like the show, but I can still try my best. Even if it won't be perfect, I can still try. So, I guess it's time to make this plush. Will it work? Well, I guess we'll just have to find out together. You would think for the amount of time I've been going at this, there would be more done. But it's okay. It's okay. It's probably okay. It's probably okay. Because yes, it was basically 4 hours of straight detail work. But I think once I actually have to put everything together, it will go really quickly. Because what do we really have to do? We gotta put on the limbs, put on the ears, and then like put the body together. It's not that complex of a pattern. So fingers crossed this goes quickly because I am running out of time. So let's just get going because like I literally just said, I'm running out of time. I don't have time for this. Why am I still talking? Let's just go. Okay, so the skin is almost done. We just need to add on these arms and sew up the sides and legs and all that. Which means now it's time for my super secret arbitrage technique! Oh no! I used too much juice! Too much juice or running out of time to complete the project. Who's to say? What's done is done, and what's done is the skin. Now I can pretend like I didn't just do 8 hours work and stuff it like I just got it from Build-A-Bear. Anyway, what was I saying? Oh yeah, I was talking about how much I love and appreciate my patrons. Don't skip ahead, I promise this will be quick. One reason why this is important is because I'm giving a special shout out to all of my patrons today. Usually it's just my Pixie tier and above patrons, but because I had to recently change some of my benefits because I was extremely overwhelmed with my workload, I wanted to give an extra special thank you to my patrons who stayed. All of this is kind of a lot of work, so when you guys join for the silly stuff I give out over there, like behind the scenes content, work in progress updates, exclusive polls, and art that I don't post like anywhere else, when you guys join for all of those fun little things, it really, really does keep this channel going. Fabric is expensive, so thank you to all of my patrons. You really do mean the world to me, and for everyone who is not a patron, go check it out. You can check it out for free. Anyway, that's patreon.com/SoMicah. Now, let's get this little lady stuffed. And now, the moment you've all been waiting for. It's bean time! And now that she's all stuffed, we can get to the hand sewing. We're gonna need an array of colors, all with 0 saturation. But I think first, we'll start with the black. Oh, you guys got Bluey and Bingo at Build-A-Bear? That's cool. That's cool. I got Muffin. So of course our project is complete, but that doesn't mean we're done just yet. Check that runtime. We still have to score this plushie and figure out which muffin is the best muffin plushie. So let's get a quick refresh on those categories and then we can jump right in. We have time, price, accuracy, sensory feel, and hug feel. Now let's get started on our first category, time. Patterning aside, this project took about 4 days to finish, which means it's gonna get a 6 out of 10 in this category. Not the fastest, but not the slowest either. Next up, price. Now, our DIYs always have more than one price depending on how you want to look at it. Because I've seen people who think I should be adding in my electrical bill to the price of the DIY, the first way we'll look at this is with all the materials and equipment accounted for. And that would add up to a cool $410 for this plush. But that does Baby Muffin, stand up. But that does include equipment like my sewing machine. But because one could technically hand sew this, we are gonna score this plush off of material cost only. So the material cost for this muffin would add up to about $60, which is much more reasonable if you ask me. And with a dream price of $25, our DIY muffin will be getting a 4.5 out of 10 in this category. Not great, but I'm sure she'll make up for it in the next one. That being accuracy. And as we've already discussed here in this video, making a perfectly accurate muffin plushie just isn't gonna happen. But 3D translation aside, I think she's pretty good. Take a look at her from the side and she looks pretty much like she was just ripped straight out of the show. Not 100%, like for sure some of the colors are a little off, but it's pretty darn close. So I think I'm gonna give my muffin an 8 out of 10 in this category. As long as she keeps her granny outfit on. She definitely looks better as a granny. Next up, we have hug feel. I tried so hard to give this plushie a good hug feel while also looking good, but really there's no way to keep her looking like a brick and having a good hug feel. So I had to compromise a little on both. I'm gonna have to give her a 7.5 out of 10 here. Now let's move on to sensory feel. This category is very easy since the fabric I used on Muffin always gets a base score of 8. But since she also has this lovely mochi minky for some of her details, I'm gonna bump that score up to 8.5. Overall, this plush was my second most difficult pattern to perfect. It has its ups and downs, but one extra special thing about it that I think deserves a little bit of a bonus point is the granny outfit. It really does pull the whole plushie together, and it's something none of the other muffins have going for them. So I'm giving this muffin an extra 0.5 bonus points for the lovely granny outfit. That said, I really do think that all of these plushies are lovely in their own way. They're most likely all meant for different purposes and people, but today we have to pick a winner. So without further ado, it's time to decide the winner of this muffin plushie face-off. Okay, I've tallied all the scores, and it's time to reveal the winner of today's competition. So first, in third place,
with a score of 29 is the Squishy Muffin. She put up a good fight, but in the end, her accuracy tanked her overall score in a way that just wasn't recoverable. That said, she did still earn herself the rank of Good Pal. But with our third place queen on her throne, it's time to find out who's taking home the gold. So, in first place, with an overall score of 35, the winner of the So Micah Muffin Plushie Challenge is... the So Micah Muffin! The thing that really pushed this plushie over the edge to victory was the accuracy. No other 3D Bluey characters have ever gotten this close to looking right. And that is 100% what gave this plushie the win. And the little muffin did so well today too. With a total score of 33, it just barely missed out on the gold. If the hug feel or accuracy had been just a little bit better, I think it could have won this one. Both the little muffin and my muffin have earned themselves the So Micah ranking of lovely jubblies, meaning they are up there with some of the best. Because it is tough to make it into either of the two higher categories. I'm not sure it's even possible to get into the last category. And now that I think about it, I don't think any plushie has made it into the other two categories. I honestly really can't even remember right now. So go ahead and check for yourself. I've got 3 other buy versus DIYs out right now, and hopefully one more coming before the end of the year. Oh, and while you're over there in those other ones, make sure you go in the comment section and tell me that you came from this video. That'll give you a brownie point. Or should I say a muffin point? Girl, don't do that to me. You almost fell, you'll break a hip.